Hello there, Marcy here with another tutorial. This one is about drawing flowers. And first, a quick disclaimer. I do not know a thing about drawing flowers, but I hope that's what will really help you in this tutorial, because what we're going to be talking about, as I've mentioned in my past tutorials, are really we're going to be looking at three different concepts here. First, we're going to be looking at shapes. We're going to be looking at darks and lights, and actually they're the key to this particular drawing. And finally, we're going to be looking at little details. And the details in this are the things that will move your eye around this composition and hold it together. So this is a more complex drawing, so I'm going to do it in three sections, starting with shapes, basic shapes of this piece. Then I'm going to do a pause, then go on to the lights and darks, and finally the details. And so during the tutorial, you'll see kind of a fade, and that's where you might like to take a break as well, because this might take you longer than the 20-minute tutorial. Getting started, materials. I've got my handy pencil sharpener. I've got my dollar store pencil. I've got another extra eraser here. And I also have a straight edge. Straight edge, you can use anything you like. It doesn't have to be a ruler. And one thing I'll say again, no perfection. What we're looking for here is we're not going to be illustrators. What we're looking for is being artists. That means every mistake you make is part of the art piece. So I'm going to stop blabbing now, and I'm just going to start right in. So to start this, what I did was, I was thinking about how to best tell you about this. I sectioned this off in three sections, going both ways. And you'll notice in art that those sections give the sense of composition that works for us. You'll see that on your camera, that grid. So, and it's also kind of a help of, finding those places to start the shapes. So I'm just going to walk right through these shapes. And let's see here. Again, I don't know anything about flowers. I even had to look up that these are irises. And I will tell you a little bit about how that worked for me too, because it did help me finish this in a way I wouldn't have. So even my little guidelines now are bothering me. I am so used to just using shapes. I don't even like my guidelines. So let's see this one. We're going to do this one too. I'm going to make it come all the way down here and put this shape here. Again, I'm never really concerned with when I'm starting. I have an eraser. I consider it as much of a tool as anything else that I use, and it's really going to be a tool for us in this piece. Again, we're just looking at these shapes. I'm going to come here. We're just going to do the basic shapes of major parts of this drawing, because we're going to come back and do the last ones as details. Now, as you watch me, I'm looking at that. And when I look at that, I look at where it is compared to that. So if you think of yourself as you're putting together a puzzle. So I'm always glancing back and forth. Of course, this is a reference photo. And even if you're drawing from life, you'd be doing the same thing. You're just glancing back and forth, back and forth. Now, looking here, I see that starting here. And if you notice anything, I want you to notice that, again, it's not perfect. I'm looking at the shapes. Wow, this is not even nearly the way it should be, but it's okay. As an artist, when you're finishing a piece, it matters that the piece is finished and it's your piece and you like it. Not that it's perfect, not that it's a perfect representation of every flower you've ever seen. You know, that's why it's art. If we all went into a museum and every picture was the same, it'd be a total bore, huh? So, you can probably see me making mistakes more quickly than I can, or at least not copying what I'm seeing exactly, and that is fine. Okay, so I'm seeing three major shapes. I'm seeing this too. This is a cast shadow. And as we talked about, cast shadows are typically the darkest dark in a drawing. All right, let's see here. I see this. Now, I stop frequently, so I'm stopping. I'm going to stop here. And I'm talking to myself in my head as I'm doing this, and I'm saying, you know, without my drawing further information in here, I can't really tell what's off. The more I go forward and continue, I'll be able to tell, oh, no, that's really not right. So let's keep moving. Now we're going to move on to our second step, those darks and lights. And here's that little legend. The darkest darks are super dark in this. Here's kind of a mid-tone. And here, of course, the lightest lights are just totally white as that paper. So the next thing I would do, and this is what I ended up doing, I am going to start using this pencil to color in this extensive background. It is quite dark. And the darkness that it is pops those flower petals forward. And here's the motion again that I was talking about. That where I'm kind of going, if you notice me going in one direction, this can give some consistency to the piece. So again, where I am now and what I'm thinking at this moment is I don't have enough information. This is so much based on dark and light. The darks and lights are going to need to tell me what I have to do next. So I need reference for that. So I have got to get some darks and lights going. And that's just basically filling in this background. And I'm, again, I want to do a 20-minute tutorial, not a 20-year tutorial. So let's just go ahead and put this in to the best of our ability with that nice, smooth kind of sketch. I'm going to be honest with you, when I was trying to do this in the first place, I honestly thought I can't pull this off because I don't know a darn thing about flowers. Let me tell you another secret. Persistence. You will get to a point where you are doing a drawing or an art piece and you go, oh my God, that is so horrible. I need to stop. I saw a great cartoon once and it showed an artist working on a piece and it was like they were at... it was an operating table, and the artist was saying, "Doctor, give up, the patient is dead." And I don't believe that. You can pretty much rescue most of your art pieces if you just trust yourself and trust your eye. And that persistence of working toward the end is what creates the art piece. The battle with the art is the art. So it's the frustration in working toward it that will finally make it what it is. So don't give up ship. Don't jump. Hang in there with that thing. So I'm going to call this the end of section 1 for now and take a little break, because this background, all I'm going to be doing now is filling it in. So we're going to stop and come back to this. Okay, I had a little glitch, which was a problem on that second part about the darks and lights. But we can go on from here. What I did in the pause was filled in this background, as you can see. And let me explain what I did. As you can see up here, I would say these are the darkest darks. And this is what we would call the focal point, because it's a contrast between the lightest light and the darkest dark. So this flower right up here. So I use this stroke to go ahead and fill in this background. And you'll know this is going to be a little bit different than the other one. And that's quite fine. And what I did to smooth this out, so I could fill it in more quickly, I used another eraser. So I kind of just use this eraser to kind of smooth things out in areas that I didn't really like. And it's a way to kind of quickly get done. If you want to be real meticulous, you can, use this stroke throughout the whole, they call it a hatch, throughout the whole piece. But I chose not to, because we have a 20-minute tutorial here. So I'm going to say, here's where we are. We are pretty close to the darks and lights. I also went in here with these darks and I put in these stems. So these are ultra dark. These stems in this drawing are the darkest darks, and some are just a tad darker than others. The ones that are a little bit lighter, and let me show you this one right here. That is indicating to your eye that it's a little bit further away. But otherwise, these make this drawing what it is. So let's go up and now I'm going to fill in again those things that I call details. And so I'm looking over here and I'm saying, what are the details that help me know that these are flowers and will help my eye understand that a little bit better and move my eye around this page. Okay, so let's just start at the right over here. I see, first of all, I want to make sure that these edges are clean. So to clean up the edges, I go right in and do that. I go right up to those edges. See, I clean that edge up and it makes it pop out more. So when I look at this, it's coming down like that. And there's a little bit of shading here. It's kind of like the sun's not quite hitting that part of that flower. And there's a stem here, but it's kind of, you don't see it real well. So I'm going to do that, kind of clean that up a little bit. What else? I'm noticing this doesn't look a thing like this, but that's okay. This one looks okay to me. I'll just give it a little bit more definition. And this. So what I'm telling myself, I'm detailing this out. I want this cleaned up a little bit. And you know what? There's that eraser again. And I'm using it to clean some of these details up. So I know where those darkest darks, lightest lights are. Now I notice right here, This drawing isn't fantastic, by the way, because I, again, didn't know what I was doing. I see there's a little line there. It's kind of indicating to me that there's more than one flower. So I put that in. So let's call that a detail. Over here, this doesn't even look like a flower petal to me. So let's get it to look a little bit more like that one over there. Again, this is kind of refining. You know, if I'm not seeing flowers, well, I'm not seeing flowers. And that's not going to work out. So there. And here's that little dark here. And you know what? That's that middle part of that flower. And there's a little piece that's there. And then there's some darker darks right in here. And this actually is quite different over here. But I have a little bit of shade right there. Then I'm going to clean that up a little bit to look a little bit more like the other side. Again, I'm not even thinking of flowers right now. I'm thinking, how close am I getting to my reference photo? Now, after I would be done with all of this, and I felt like I was pretty close to finishing, then I would go back and go, oh, what is actually not working? And that's what I did with this. And I'll tell you how I finished this off. Okay, so let's look up here. Here's some more little details. You notice this here indicates a little bit more of a flower. And then there's this piece right there. Notice, remember, if you've watched the videos before, I'm not naming. I don't name things, because then all of a sudden there's something and they're no longer a shape. So, and I noticed that this little part here came down like that. And I'm going to just soften this a little bit. Just soften that. I use my eraser and it's not making me super happy, this area. I want to see a flower. Oh, there. This little section makes it look like a flower, and you know what? It's not there. So I need to make it happen for myself, and here too. So I am looking at this flower. I go, oh, wait a minute, something's wrong. There's, this is when I'm stopping and I'm looking. I'm finding the things that are bothering me. And this line right here, I see this line almost go straight up and down. This one doesn't. Now it does a little bit more. Okay, I want this. I want this. Oh, I see. Now, again, I'm looking here. This is what I call about the details. I am looking, to find where did I just kind of not get this right? And we're at the end. It's not making me happy. I'm looking for those details. To take me there. And I see this kind of thins out a little bit, which indicates to me it's more of a stem right there. And to me, this flower is super important. It is the key part. And what I noticed too, this goes up and around. So it's going to just really pop that flower out for me. Or the shapes that I see as a flower, and I see this is just a little bit wider. Now, it's like, wow, you're really working really hard. Yes, I am. Right on these details, I tend to work harder. until, again, the battle with the art is the art, until I feel really good about it, because I feel there's a movement in this flower that I want to see occur. So this is a little bit like this. Oh my gosh, that one doesn't look at all the same. But I'm going to leave that, because that reads flowerish to me right at this moment. If you'll notice, what I'm looking for now, glancing back and forth, I'm looking at edges and details, edges and details. And I'm going to put that in there, and then there's this little piece here, and I just switched up pencils a little bit. That's okay. That goes around there, something like this, and I know this is actually coming up a little bit. You see, I'm using, here again, I am using the pencil and the eraser as a tool to refine this. And gee, just as I'm sitting here talking to you, I don't really know whether this is good or not. At a certain point, I have to stop and wait and look for a while to see what the heck did I do. And but in the meantime, it's just looking back and forth. Still not crazy about this flower. That's okay. Let's see, in this here, you see, I look for where is that dark. And here too, it's just a little bit smoother. And I see this as being over a little bit. Like so. You see what I meant about the struggle with this one? But this is the best exercise you can get when you're learning to draw, is that struggle. You know, where can I keep moving with this? Let's see. I want to do this. I still want to do this. These are these little details. I'm going to stand up actually and look at this so I can get a better look down at it. This is more like this. I'm going to go ahead and draw that in. So my apologies to all you floral folks that do florals all the time. But we will just consider this the struggle with the art, because I know we're hitting about our 20-minute mark. I want that good and dark. And this to come down here. Okay, it is not perfect. It is close, and I think you could, you know, probably tell yourself that there's some flowers happening here. And what I was saying, that I had to go look at irises to see how they came out of the ground, and that's when I noticed these stems were really straight, and I was curving them. So, you know, it helped me to go take a look online at some flowers, at some irises, and know that that's how they actually come out of the ground, something that I wasn't, you know, seeing with my eyes. So there we have it, my tutorial on flowers. Not perfect. Again, if there's anything I want you to take away from this, shapes, lights and darks, details, don't worry about perfection. And then I would take this piece and I would keep working on it and refining it until I felt comfortable, you know, that I could take it as far as I could. So thank you again for joining me for this tutorial, and I will see you next time.